Welcome, everyone. Ready to dive into something pretty cool. We're going deep on vocal work today.
Vocal work.
Yeah, and this is the cool part. It's all based on this excerpt about training actors' voices.
Oh, interesting.
But it turns out, and I didn't expect this, it applies to like everyone, whether you're on stage or just, living life.
I can see that.
So get this, we're going to uncover how our voices actually work.
Mechanics and all that.
Exactly. Plus, we'll pick up tips for better, just talking to people. Oh, and even some stuff about Shakespeare.
It's fair, huh?
And spoken word poetry, which I'm kind of fascinated by.
It's all connected, really. I mean, the techniques actors use, we use them too every day, just maybe not as consciously.
Right. And we don't realize how much, our bodies, where we come from, even culture, affects how we sound.
It's a whole package.
The excerpt starts right off with this body-voice connection. I'd never thought about it much before.
Makes sense, though.
Totally. Like if you're all tense, jaw clenched, shoulders up, your voice can't flow right.
Exactly. When we're stressed, everything tightens up. Even the muscles we need for breathing, for speaking.
Oh, so that leads to...
This thing called central diaphragmatic breathing. Big word, but...
It's not just for opera singers.
Right. It's using your diaphragm, the muscle under your lungs, to breathe deeper, more controlled, helps relax those tight muscles.
So you get a fuller voice?
More resonant, yeah. And think about it, you feel more confident when you're breathing well.
That's so true. I get all tongue-tied when I'm nervous, like everything seizes up. Deeper breathing would probably help.
Probably would.
But before we get too ahead, how does sound happen? Like the basics.
Okay, so deep in your larynx, that's your voice box. You've got these two folds of tissue, vocal fold.
Tiny, right.
Tiny. Air from your lungs goes over them, they vibrate, and boom, sound.
Wow. Then the excerpt gets into resonance. It's not just loudness, it's like quality.
Huge difference.
I was surprised we have resonators all over mouth, nose, even our skulls.
Like a built-in sound system?
Totally. But how do we go from just sound to, words?
Vowels and consonants, that's the key. Vowels, the ah, e, o sounds, that's airflow without stopping.
Okay.
But here's the cool part. Where your tongue is, changes the vowel sound. Up, down, it shapes the airflow.
Whoa. So much control we don't even think about.
Subconscious, yeah. This is why good pronunciation matters. No more mumbling.
No one mumbling. So consonants, those are the airflow introductors.
Yep. Tongue, lips, teeth, that's how we get T, P, S sounds. They make speech clear, give it rhythm.
Makes sense. Now, the excerpt mentions actors change their voices for roles, characterization.
Right.
But we all do that, don't we? Like how we talk to our boss versus a friend.
Oh, absolutely. We're all vocal chameleons, adjusting tone, speed, even words, depending on who we're with.
It's like a code switch almost.
It is. This all builds our vocal fingerprint, that unique sound that's you.
I love that vocal fingerprint. What all goes into making that?
Well, culture's huge, right? Different places have different rhythms, ways of talking.
Makes sense.
Plus, your own experiences shape how you express yourself. And of course, personality shines through, loud or quiet, whatever you're like.
So we're a mix of nature and nurture, even in our voices. That's fascinating. Now, rhythm actors, singers, sure, but how's it mattered in, everyday talk?
It's huge. It's how we make our point, keep people interested. Pauses, emphasis, changing how fast we speak.
Oh, like when someone's telling a story and they build suspense, or a comedian timing a joke just right.
Exactly. It's all deliberate, using your voice to make the message hit harder.
So it's how we say it, not just the words themselves, almost like music.
You got it. And good breathing is crucial for that. Those deep breaths we talked about, that's the foundation for good rhythm.
Wow, it all ties together. Okay, last thing from this excerpt before we move on. It kind of threw me off at first. Stylized texts.
Stylized.
Yeah, like Shakespearean sonnets and spoken word poetry.
Ah, okay.
I wasn't sure how those fit in with vocal training,
It seems like a jump, but think about it. These are words meant to be performed, to use the voice to its fullest.
Okay, but Shakespeare, that's intimidating for a lot of people.
Right, but imagine it on stage. The actors emphasizing certain words, the pauses, the building tension, it brings the text alive.
So it's not just reading it flat on the page.
Nope. All these techniques we talked about, breathing, resonance, rhythm, they make it powerful.
I'm actually kind of excited to reread some Shakespeare now. But spoken word, that's so different, so raw and modern.
It is, but the core is the same. Using your voice as an instrument, rhythm, energy, pure emotion.
So still breath control, protecting your voice, pauses, all that.
All of it. Spoken word artists, they're masters of making you feel what they're saying.
Incredible. It's amazing how these techniques can be used in such different ways. Shows you how versatile our voices are.
It does, and it makes you think, how can we use these same ideas to be better at talking to each other every day?
That's a great question, and one we'll definitely get into right after this. So we're back, and I'm really curious about this, using actors' techniques to improve how we all talk, not just on stage,
Right, because it's not just for actors, is it? It's like we all have this amazing instrument, our voice.
But we don't always know how to use it well.
Exactly. And just like any tool, the better you understand it, the better you can use it. So understanding breathing, resonance, rhythm, it all helps you communicate better, connect with people, even inspire them.
It's powerful stuff. So where do we even start? Like practical tips?
Well, it all comes back to the breath. We talked about diaphragmatic breathing, and honestly, can't stress enough how important that is.
More than just like taking a deep breath.
It's about engaging that diaphragm muscle. Getting those deep, controlled breaths helps you relax, project your voice better, even manage stress.
So before a big presentation or like a tough conversation, just taking a moment to breathe, right, could help.
Totally centers you, lets your voice flow more freely. And speaking of things that block our voice, let's talk about those little habits we all have.
Oh, habits, yeah.
Mumbling, rushing our words, using filler words like or like all the time.
Oof, guilty as charged on some of those.
It happens. First step is just noticing them. When you're aware, you can start correcting yourself. Practice speaking clearly, slowing down, enunciating.
Enunciating, right.
And try this, record yourself talking and then listen back. It can be surprising what you hear.
Ooh, that's a good idea. I might try that. But what about when you're nervous and trying to sound confident, even if you're not? My voice gets all high and shaky.
Posture, that's key. Standing tall, shoulders relaxed, making eye contact. It projects confidence and physically helps your voice resonate.
So how you hold yourself matters just as much as the words.
It's all part of it. And don't underestimate the power of silence. Pauses, used right, are just as strong as any word.
Oh, that's interesting. Like giving yourself a moment to think.
And giving the other person time to process what you said. Think about good speakers. They're not afraid of a little silence.
True, it makes you lean in like what's coming next.
Exactly. Like punctuation in writing. Pauses are your commas, your periods. They give your message clarity and punch.
This is really making me think differently about how I use my voice. It's not just making sounds. It's a whole way of communicating, connecting.
And we're just scratching the surface, really. There's so much to explore, practice, and discover about this incredible tool we have.
I'm loving this. Now, I want to go back to that vocal fingerprint idea. You mentioned culture, experiences, personality. How do those all mix together?
It's fascinating. Like, someone from a busy city might naturally talk faster than someone from a quiet rural place.
Right, your environment shapes how you talk.
Totally. And our experiences, too. Someone who's always public speaking might have a strong, commanding voice compared to someone more shy.
So it's like our voices are always changing, adapting to what we do, who we meet.
Exactly. And then personality adds its own layer. Extroverted people, maybe they have a more lively, expressive voice, while introverts might be quieter, more thoughtful.
It's like a vocal tapestry, both from inside us and the world around us. So beautiful when you think about it.
It is, and it means there's no one right way to sound. It's about owning your own voice, not trying to be someone else.
No judgment on how high or low your voice is, as long as you're using it well.
Exactly. That diversity is what makes it so interesting. And this brings us back to those stylized texts, Shakespeare spoken word.
Oh, right.
They show us just how much the voice can do. It's not just info, it's art, it's emotion, it's inspiration.
And while they seem so different from everyday talk, the techniques are the same underneath it all.
Breathing, projection, pauses, it's all connected. Whether you're giving a presentation, talking to a friend, even reading to a kid, those techniques make a difference.
This has been so eye-opening, honestly. I feel like I'm seeing my own voice in a whole new light.
That's great. And remember, this is just the start. The more you explore, the more you practice, the more you realize just how much your voice can do.
I'm definitely going to keep working on this, but before we wrap things up, I'm curious, what about rhythm in everyday speech? That's something I'm still trying to grasp.
Oh, rhythm is huge, but often overlooked. It's not just about speaking at the same speed all the time. It's about using pauses, emphasizing certain words, changing your pace to keep people engaged.
So it's like making your words flow like music.
Exactly. Think of a good storyteller. They know how to paint a picture, create suspense, pull you in. It's not just what they say, it's how they say it.
Like those dramatic pauses in movies, it makes you hold your breath, wondering what's next.
Exactly. Those pauses give us time to think, to anticipate. They make the story richer.
Okay, so how do we get better at using rhythm ourselves?
Start by listening to others. Pay attention to how good speakers use pauses, emphasis, changes in pace. Notice how they create that flow, that rhythm.
So it's like we're surrounded by teachers, we just have to pay attention.
Exactly, and don't be afraid to try things out yourself. Slow down, pause after an important point, play with emphasizing different words, see what happens.
The more you do it, the more natural it becomes.
Totally, and you find you can communicate on a whole other level. It's not just information, it's emotion, it's nuance.
Wow, it's like adding a whole other dimension to how we talk. This has been so insightful. Seriously, I have a newfound respect for the power of the spoken word.
And I hope our listeners do too. The voice is incredible, and everyone should keep exploring what theirs can do.
Absolutely. Okay, before we go, any last words of wisdom for those wanting to put all this into practice?
Be bold. Don't be afraid to play with your voice. Try things out. Find what works for you. The more you practice, the more confident and expressive you'll become.
I love that. So everyone go out there and use your voices. Share your ideas, connect with people, enjoy a good chat, and remember the power you have within you. Thanks for joining us on this deep dive into vocal work.
It's been a pleasure.
It's amazing, isn't it? We started talking about how actors train their voices, and now we're talking about, like, the heart of communication.
It's all connected, really. It just shows you how crucial the voice is, no matter what you're doing, on stage or just, living life.
I'm still stuck on that fingerprint idea. It's so cool how our voices are truly one of a kind, like, literally.
Yeah, it's a great way to think about it. All our experiences, our personality, even where we come from, it all shapes how we sound.
And that's what makes each voice interesting, right? Not trying to sound like someone else, but owning what makes yours yours.
Exactly. So often we try to change our voices to fit in or sound a certain way.
Oh yeah, like trying to make your voice deeper to sound more serious or softer to seem friendlier.
But what we've learned here is that being genuine, that's what really connects with people. When your voice is true to who you are, it resonates so much more powerfully.
So it's not about putting on a voice. It's about using your voice in the best way possible.
Exactly. Think of it like you wouldn't trade in your favorite instrument for a different one. You'd learn to play it better, right?
Right. All those techniques we talked about, the breathing, the pauses, the rhythm, it's all about using what you already have more effectively. It's like being given this incredible toolkit, and now we can build anything with it. We can be clearer, more genuine, even inspire others just with how we talk.
And the journey doesn't end here. The more you experiment, the more you'll learn about your own voice, what it can do.
I've already started catching myself, like paying more attention to my breathing, speaking more clearly, even using pauses more on purpose. It's wild.
It's about awareness, and the more you do it, the more natural it'll become. Little changes can make a big difference in how you come across.
So as we wrap this up, this deep dive into the power of the voice, what's the one thing you hope people remember?
This. Your voice is a gift. It's powerful, it's unique, and it can connect you to others in amazing ways. So embrace it, explore it, and never underestimate what it can do.
That's beautiful. And to everyone listening, go out there and use your voices. Share your thoughts, connect with people you care about, just have a good chat, and remember the power you have. Thanks for joining us on this journey into the world of vocal work.
It's been my pleasure. Thanks for having me.